Welcome students. In this topic, we will learn about fillet lap joints on a 10 mm thick MS plate in the overhead position 4G using the shielded metal arc welding process. Let me provide you with a brief introduction to fillet welds. A fillet weld is a type of weld used to join two pieces of metal at an angle, typically a 90-degree angle, creating a triangular cross-section. Shall we now delve into overhead welding? Yes, overhead welding is often considered one of the more complex and demanding welding positions due to the increased risk of issues such as weld spatter, slag inclusion, and difficulty in achieving proper penetration.
Objectives. At the end of this topic, you will be able to prepare plates as per the size 150 mm length, 50 mm width and 10 mm thickness. Set the plates in the form of a lap joint and tack weld at each end of the joint at an equal distance. Deposit the root, second and third runs using the weaving technique in an overhead position. Clean the weld bead with a steel wire brush. Inspect the weld bead for any surface defects. In addition to the above objectives, the following points should be kept in mind before starting the welding of a fillet lap joint in an overhead position. The welding machine should be set to the correct voltage and amperage for the thickness of the material being welded and the type of electrode being used. The electrode should be held at the correct angle and travel speed to produce a smooth, uniform weld bead. The weld pool should be kept small and molten to avoid slag inclusion and porosity. The slag should be removed from each bead before depositing the next bead. Here is the list of tools and equipment essential for ensuring the safety of the welder and the quality of the fillet lap joint in the overhead position on a 10 mm thick MS plate 4G. Steel rule, scriber, prick punch, ball peen hammer, flat file, bench vise, tri-square, tongs, chipping hammer, steel wire brush, electrode cable and earth cable, electrode holder, electrode, personal protective equipment, SMAW welding plant machine and their setup accessories, C-clamp, wear protective clothing, use plain goggles while grinding and welding goggles while gas cutting. Take an MS plate. Ensure that the mild steel plate meets the correct specifications and quality. Inspect the plates for any surface defects or irregularities at the edges. Ensure that the mild steel plate is clean and free from rust, dirt, grease or any contaminants that could affect the quality of the weld. If any contaminants are found, clean the plate with a chemical cleaning compound and remove rust and dirt with a steel wire brush. Apply the marking medium like chalk to the MS plate. Wait for a few minutes for the marking medium to dry. Mark the length of the plate as 150 mm using a ruler and a scriber. Mark the width of the plate as 50 mm using a ruler and scriber. Punch mark the lines using a prick punch and a hammer on the length measurement side. Do the same for the width side measurement. Begin the cutting process using a gas cutter. Set up the oxyacetylene cutting setup for gas cutting the MS plate. Set the working pressure for oxygen and acetylene. Cut the plates using gas cutting to achieve the dimensions 150 mm length, 50 mm width and 10 mm thickness. Deburr the edges using grinding. Check the squareness of the plates. Clean the surface of the plates with a steel wire brush. Set the plates as a lap joint with a lapping distance of 20 mm. Place the plate on the welding table in preparation for the welding process. Start setting up the SMAW machine. Keep the SMAW machine at a safe distance to avoid electrical shock. Ensure that the earth clip is in proper working condition. A malfunctioning earth clip can adversely affect the welding process. Ensure you have the correct electrode for welding. If unsure about the electrode's specifications, refer to the guidelines provided. Select a 3.15 mm diameter MS electrode and have it ready to connect with the welding torch. Ensure the welding torch is functioning correctly. Inspect the electrode holder in the welding torch for any issues. If problems are found, address them. Check the connecting wires at both ends. Examine the cables for any cuts or deformities. If issues are found, use electrical insulation tape to rectify the problem. Connect one end of the electrical cable to the welding torch and the other end to the SMAW machine. Ensure that the cables are securely fastened in the SMAW machine and welding torch. Verify the machine setup before commencing the welding. Begin by checking the power supply of the SMAW machine. Set the correct amperage for the welding in the SMAW machine. Ensure that the amperage is set correctly for the fillet weld. If uncertain about the amperage, refer to the guidelines and adjust it accordingly for the welding process. Set the current to 110 amps for tack welding. If the machine is functioning properly, perform an arc test on a sample plate. Position a welding torch fitted with an electrode near the lap joint on the welding table. Tack weld the plates at both ends with a 3 mm tack size. Inspect the tack weld for any surface defects.
Recap. In this topic, you have learned the following key skills and techniques. Prepare plates as per size 150 mm length, 50 mm width and 10 mm thickness. Set the plates in the form of a lap joint and tack weld at each end of the joint at an equal distance.